Hello, I'm Bob Mayer, and welcome to West Point Facts and Trivia number 3. What's the significance of the cadet colors? Black, gray, gold, components of gunpowder, and sulfur, which are black, gray, gold. Here's the song we all have to memorize, Benny Haven's O, as cadets. Here's General Winfield Scott's fixed opinion after the Mexican War, where he feels that the West Point graduates shortened the war with their training. And one of the big things in that war was the use of artillery, the flying artillery. On the other hand, Grant, who fought in the Mexican War, had his opinion on it. He was bitterly opposed to the measure, and he regards the war, which resulted, as one of the most unjust ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation. Do not think there was ever a more wicked war. He also felt the Civil War was sort of retribution for that. Old's building on post, the Soup's Quarter. I wonder how they feel about that sometimes. Moving in, I'm sure they keep it upgraded. What figure is represented in the Usma Library? That's the old library. We now have a new one, Jefferson Library, which is the first thing named after Jefferson, who actually founded the academy, which is kind of interesting. Who was Thaddeus Kosciuszko, a Polish officer who came and helped out, built the defenses there. There's a small garden overlooking the Hudson on the hill there. You can find it. It's sort of behind the bachelor officer quarters. Some great quotes from West Point graduates. Find out where your enemy is. Get at him as soon as you can. Strike him as hard as you can. Keep moving on. If I do my full duty, the rest will take care of itself. Patton. And as Jefferson, God grant that men of principle be our principal man. MacArthur's message, yeah, except for bugging out from the Philippines, but other than that, for which he was awarded the Medal of Honor, which is a little bizarro. But he did have less casualties in the Pacific than in the Battle of the Bulge alone. I always found Schofield's definition of discipline, which I still have memorized, a little odd to be hazed to regurgitate the definite discipline while braced against the wall. Sort of a disconnect there if you think about it. As I said, I always found it odd to be hazed to recite the definition of discipline, MacArthur's speech, which you also had to memorize a big portion of it, Duty on a Country. You can also watch the movie with Gregory Peck playing MacArthur. I think they filmed that in early 1970s there, because I remember when I was there, the movie came out and we all had to march down Eisenhower Hall and watch the movie. Significance of Fort Arnold. After he defected to the prison, it was renamed Fort Clinton. I cannot trust with higher command. The command of others, a man cannot command himself. Discipline of self as well as others is the soul of an army. Of course, you have to wonder about his decisions later in life. 3 Ds of the fighting man: discipline, decision, and devotion to duty. Who are honored in Cullom Hall. Distinguished deceased officers and graduates. All deceased graduates who won the Medal of Honor, all killed in World War II and in Korea, and almost all in previous wars, as well as deceased former superintendents and permanent professors of the academy. Robert's Rules of Order. Figures a West Point graduate would write that. This is kind of interesting. Grant's 2 best subjects at West Point were art and mathematics. That's kind of left brain, right brain. He was also a horse whisperer. I think that had a lot to do with his abilities as a commander. I've written a new series featuring a graduated class of 66 set in 1977-78 in New York City. Sort of a Jack Reacher meets Rambo sort of thing. The New York Minute cover has been updated since that. Also have my historical series set starting at West Point, going through the Mexican War into the Civil War. My book about a group of West Pointers, The Line, who are going to commit a coup. Mentioned Will Kane. There's the new cover. And here's my background. Hope you've enjoyed this information about West Point facts and trivia.